Welcome to Washington East to West Sports. This is episode 80. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Sean Beatty and Kevin Ardall. If you want to get involved in the show, go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Beatty_Matt. Sean's at Sean_Beatty. Kev's at Kev's Believes the First Thing Believes Me in a 3. Subscribe to us on YouTube, like our videos, or dislike them. I guess that's your prerogative. And tell us what you think in the comments below. Let's start with some WNBA. And since we came back last week, the WNBA Seattle Storm have lost 2 in a row. So I think in order to get the Storm back to winning, we're going to have to take another long break because they did really well when we were on that break. So what do you guys think? Because they lost 68-51 in the Commissioner's Cup at Climate Pledge Arena. Then on Sunday, yesterday, they lost 93-86 to the Connecticut Sun in the regular season. So, Sean, do we need to take a break for the Storm to do well?
No, what I think clearly needs to happen is they need to post a deal with Kevin, like the Sounders did. That is the only way that it's going to happen. No, the Sounders will be fine. The Storm will be fine. It's just a little bad. It's a little bad run. They have too much talent on there. The only issue is with this team is age. So that is something. So what were these games? 2 days apart. After playing 2 days before, had a little break. I have a feeling like this team does better after a couple days of rest, just with its age. And Brianna Stewart coming off of her injury. I feel like that will help this team. Plus reaching a deal with Kevin, but I'm not worried about it.
Kevin, do you think there could be some sort of deal that they could come to with you in order to get back to the winning ways? Or
yeah, they can get in contact with my agent, like the Sounders did. That we can build up a contract with some deals that they'll have to put in place. We'll have to come up with some parameters because the Sounders are already giving me a lot. So I'm trying to think of what else I really need that the Sounders aren't already giving me. So, but I'm willing to. I'm flexible. So, hit me up, Storm.
Well, I think there you have it right there. So the Storm will look to get back in the win column. They take on the Atlanta Dream on Tuesday, 7 p.m. at Climate Pledge. Then they're back on the road. They are going to Arlington to take on the Dallas Wings this Friday, and they are playing them again. It was a Commissioner's Cup this Friday, and then they will be playing just a regular season game on Sunday. Same team, same location. So maximizing their road trip out there, and let's root for the Storm. Hope they get back to the winning ways. Check in on the OL Reign. They lost their most recent game on June 4th on the road against the Chicago Red Stars 1-0. They are back in action this Sunday. They're going to be on the road in San Diego against the Wave FC. That's going to be 2 p.m. on Paramount Plus. So if you're able to tune in for that, please support the OL Reign and the Seattle Storm. The Sounders are back next week, but guys, we've got a lot of time this episode. There's not much happening, but the Mariners are here. Let's talk about the Seattle Mariners. And things are, objectively, they're better. They're looking better. So last week, they were in Baltimore for a 3-game series, took 2 of 3. Then they were in Texas to take on the Rangers and took 2 of 3. And today they faced the Houston Astros and won 7-4. So, gentlemen, the Mariners have won 3 straight series. Is, in the words of Michael Scott, curse is broken, people? Is that what we're saying right now? Is curse broken? Or Kevin, what have you thought of the Seattle Mariners this last week?
Okay, sorry. I had to jinx what Matt just did right there. No, it's been interesting. Now, some of it, yes, you one in the series against Texas, because Texas is just terrible. I kind of want to sweep there. I'm glad they still took the series, but you need to be sweeping Texas and then taking series from good teams. Overall, we've been seeing a little bit more consistency, I think, out of the bullpen. There's still some hitches here and there. But it feels like, that there's been some moves that have been with sending Streckenrider down and then
Snuck up on you, Kevin.
yeah, exactly. And then having interchange with pretty much Seawald and Castillo as your closer. Even though I think Seawald should just get it all, mainly because he's my fantasy team, but we won't talk about that. Getting the closing roles, and then starting pitching for the most part has been solid, other than kind of what we've seen tonight out of Robbie Ray. I wish Robbie Ray was a little bit better. Kirby's been great, actually, to be honest. Even what he did on Sunday with only, sure, he only had 3 Ks, but he got you 6 innings out of being your 5th starter. Only giving up 3 earned runs out of a 5th starter. That's kind of pretty much what you asked for. And he's young and he's going to get better. So, starting pitching, like I said, other than sure, Marco could be a little bit better, but I'm not too much on the Marco let's kill him train. I think he's
that seems like too much.
That's aggressive.
There's people out there that just hate Marco.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Weird reason. I have no idea why. Probably because they don't look at statistics. But and as a whole, the hitting has been getting, even though the hitting was solid, as we mentioned last week, they were top 12 in hitting, they're still there and it's getting more consistent. But this is what you need to do as a team, get these series wins. You need to get series wins against good teams, good to solid teams, and then sweep bad teams. Now that's what they need to do. Continue on in the future is just sweep the bad teams. There's no excuse not to. Sure, you're probably going to lose. There's going to be a series or 2 that I'd be okay with when you're going against a good team, or if you at least take 1 and don't get swept, if we go up against Houston and Houston takes 2 out of 3, I'm okay with that, as long as every now and then type of deal, because other teams are good and they're going to play baseball. But against poopy teams, which you're now starting to see in the schedule, because we had the hard part of the schedule is done. Now you're kind of seeing a little bit more poopy teams. You need to take advantage of that. So all in all, I'm happy with where it's going. I like Scott Service actually showed his testicles tonight, and got out there with said some shit, but because he hasn't really done a whole lot before. Well, he's done a couple things here and there, but I'd like to see him get a little bit more riled up on stuff like that. So yeah, all in all, I'm happy with it. I hope they continue it, keep it going.
Yeah, I'll take it here before I throw it to Sean. So I'm going to share my screen here. I didn't even realize about the I'm going to quote air quotes fight from today. Until Sean informed me. So
kerfuffle.
Yeah, a kerfuffle. So I don't, it's baseball fight. It doesn't really mean a whole lot. Yeah. But I think it does show some of the fight that the Mariners have, some of the frustration that they may have had over the last few weeks. And I think them, kind of venting it in this way is, no punches were thrown or anything. So it's really not a big deal. And Cervais showing some fire is kind of interesting, because he just kind of seems like a reserve kind of dude. So nothing came of it. So I like seeing that sort of thing from a team, especially because baseball fights are never really fights. But overall, taking 2 out of 3 from both Texas and Baltimore is great. This team just needs to keep picking up chunks. 2 of 3. 3 of 4, just kind of pick up games before the All-Star break, put yourself in a position to where you can at least be 500 or a little bit better. Just make this season, don't let the season get away from you. Just kind of keep the pace, stick with what you know how to do, and the results will come. So overall, I think this team will figure it out. So
I was just laughing at freaking Gilbert just standing out there.
Yeah, Gilbert's you think with the way he's looking, Kevin, all the Mariners don't get anywhere near this. You're not hurting yourself.
Logan, you're just like, oh.
Also, Suarez with that, was that 2 days ago where he had the good vibes only after he got the go ahead
Yeah.
home run. Yeah, that was cool. Good vibes only, Suarez. Keep it going. Sean, what do you think?
I agree with both of you each. So it was great what they did to Houston. Although we talked last week before, only allowing 3 runs and not getting a sweep is frustrating. We played Baltimore and Texas since, and Kevin's point is right. I don't think, but we should be careful. We shouldn't expect a sweep every time, but you've got to get, like, you had Texas. Marco gave up 3 earned runs, a 3-run home run in like what, the 2nd inning, and then that was it. And you couldn't score 2 runs against a Texas pitcher, like more than 2 runs. Like you just couldn't do it. Like that's what I'm like. You've got to at some point. And I get chipping away, Matthew, but you dug a big hole, so you got to get, like, a sweep gives you like a little bit of error on your way, climb back up. Like you could slowly climb back up, but if you drop something, you really drop that. A sweep really gives you, like, you could take a step down and still be okay. But it would be nice to have swept a Baltimore or a Texas, and the Robbie Ray game in Baltimore got away from them. So that is what it is. But they really had an opportunity to sweep Texas. I mean, again, granted, they came back. They almost lost the series. Let's be very real here in Texas. So as well as we're talking about them playing well, when we get an opportunity like that as a team, they really need to start capitalizing on it. With that said, good win today. Apparently, we can play with Astros, but yeah, that stretch just got rough where Toronto, Boston, and Oakland, and we got to, unfortunately, we play Houston, Boston, and Minnesota. And then we play a 5-game series against the Angels. And I don't know if you guys have seen what the Angels have been doing, but they've lost 11 in a row. And Mike Trout has his longest hitless streak of his career. And unfortunately, like a Trevor Story situation, we're going to get him when he's not in a slump very, very soon. So we need some wins. Like, you need to build those wins up, because he's going to start hitting at a horrible time for Seattle. And we're playing hard teams. So a sweep would have been nice, but like Matthew said, these harder teams, take the series as your only goal. But when we get back to playing like the Oaklands or in LA, or Baltimore comes into town, then Oakland again, you've got to get a series sweep would really get you basically to 500 if you can scrape some of these series apart. But other than that, yeah, like just me nitpicking about series and how they're actually going to get back to where they want to be. They've played a lot better. Logan Gilbert, as I clearly predicted, would be by far the best Mariners starter. I'm just kidding. I just thought he'd be the best starter. I didn't expect Robbie Ray to be this. But it'd be much nicer to see that. I do have the stats here that Robbie Ray and George Kirby are essentially the same pitcher already, and George Kirby has half the starts as Robbie Ray. They have the same WAR on the season. That shows you how good Kirby has been and not how great Robbie Ray has been. So, but like Kevin said, I love what Kirby's doing. Kirby looks fantastic. He does not walk people. He refuses to believe in that. So, yeah, that makes me get good feelings, good vibes. Oh, I want to share one more stat before I pass it back to Matthew. I saw this just now on Twitter, and it was tagged "What is even Robbie Ray's season?" And it was he's had 11 starts, and he has an ERA of 25 in that first inning. The rest of the game, he has a sub-1 ERA. It's just, he gives up all his runs in the first, and then it's just horrible to watch, and then he settles in. But man, an ERA of 25 in the first inning is hard to look at. So hopefully he could figure out that first inning woes, because he's got to figure out after that. So
he's old Seahawks defense where, like,
he
sucks on the first 2 drives and then just gives.
He was also, if people remember Prime Felix, if you were ever going to score a run, it was the first inning. And if you didn't get one, you were in trouble. So, because Felix is always like, I'm going to let 2, maybe 3 guys on. You could get 1 or 2. Oh, you didn't get anything. And then he was just going to coast on you like the whole game. That was it. So it just gives me prime Felix vibes. Obviously, he's not giving up 4 or 5 or whatever. He's giving up like Robbie Ray is, but Felix might let you get 1 or 2 in the first, and then you're toast. But yeah, it gives me those vibes.
All right, well, let's take a look at this upcoming schedule. So right now, I'm just going to throw this question out to you guys. So Mariners are 25-30. They have, not including today, starting tomorrow, they have 13 games in a row, no days off, 2 games in one day, that one Saturday doubleheader that Sean mentioned. what would make you feel comfortable of their record in those games with where this team is at? So I will go ahead and start. So they've got Houston.
How many games?
13.
13. Okay.
So they've got Houston, they've got Boston for 3, they've got Minnesota for 3, and then they've got the LA Angels for 5. So those are, Boston is coming on, Minnesota leads the Central, Houston leads the AL West, and as we mentioned, the Angels are sliding back into.
They just lost their 12th in a row. Actually, just went fifth.
So it's not Kevin mentioned the schedule. It's not necessarily an easy stretch. I would put it at about 8-5 would be ideal for this team. Now, do I think that'll be accomplished? I don't know about that, but I think 8-5 would be good for this 13 game stretch before their next day off. And if they win 8-5, they'll only be 2 games under 500 since they're 5 games under 500 right now. And that sets yourself up for the last about 3 weeks before the All-Star break. And you've got two series with Oakland. You've got Baltimore one more time. You've got the Nationals for a couple games, and you wrap up with the 4-game series in Texas. You do have Toronto in there. You do have the San Diego Padres in there. You do have the Angels again. So that Kevin mentioned the back half of this, or the easier part of the schedule. I believe it starts right when Baltimore gets to town. Then you got Baltimore. Then you got Oakland. Well, actually, you got Oakland a little bit before that as well. So there's winnable games in here, but 8-5 would be my ideal record in those games to get this team to where, we don't expect them to necessarily make the playoffs, but put yourself in a position to maybe do that. It would be great. Sean, what do you think?
8-5. I think 8-5 is what I would want, and it's perfectly reasonable. But I am scared. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little nervous about us hoping for 8-5, but 8-5 is doable. I think Minnesota is really firing on all cylinders at the beginning of the year. They're still playing pretty well, but Buxton isn't just like absolutely just destroying people. Like he basically just destroyed us in that series. Trevor Story hopefully just won't go bananas again against us in the hit this series and basically win at least 2 of the games by himself. So I mean, and Boston gets at least Gilbert and Kirby too. So I'm happy about that. I think 8-5. I'm a little nervous about the Angels too, though. No, 8-5.
Kevin, ideal record.
I mean, ideal is 13-0, right?
Like, well, I mean, let's be real though.
Yeah, the realistic ideal.
Yes.
Are they a split series? Do we know, or are they is there a 4-game stretch?
No, so the Angels is a 5-game series in 4 days.
There's a doubleheader on that Saturday.
Because of the lockout, they had to scrunch some stuff, so they made a 5-game series in 4 days.
So that's a scrunchy day right there.
Okay.
So we will have to face Ohtani pitching.
And then so 5, 3, 3, 3. So one of those is a 2-game.
Yeah, no, we play the 18th is the Saturday is 2 against LA.
No, I'm saying if you're having 5 against the Angels with 3 other teams, one of them is only a 2-game series.
Well, you have 2 left with Houston, is what Matthew's saying.
Oh, okay.
2 left with Houston, 3 with Boston, 3 with Minnesota, 5 with the Angels.
I'll kind of I won't go record, but I'll try to split it down. I would say try to at least take 1 more from Houston, if not get the whole thing and be greedy. Boston, Boston get hit, but their pitching is not really good in there. Try to sweep Boston. You need a sweep, so I'm going to be greedy. Take the sweep against Boston. If you can get at least 1 from the Twins, I'll be happy because they're doing very well right now. And then I would say try to take 2 from Oakland, because the only thing that's going good for Oakland right now, which I'm afraid of if we do run into, is Frankie Montas. He's just fucking murdering people. So if we lose to Frankie Montas, I wouldn't be shocked on it. But so that's why I'm kind of like, so I'd say 3. I'm going to go 9. Get 9 wins out of it. Sweep Boston, get 3 from Angels, take at least 1 to 2 from Houston, and then take 2 from Oakland.
All
I
right.
can't do.
No, that was right. It would be 9-4. So let's talk a little bit about the minors. I'm going to throw this mainly to you guys. Who has kind of caught your eye in the Mariners farm system, whether it be Tacoma, whether it be Arkansas, whether it be Everett? Sean.
Hold on, I gotta pronounce his name right. Edwin Arroyo. That's I had to pronounce it. I had to pronounce his name right. He is 18-year-old. He's just a baby, but he's got a 930 OPS in A ball, and that is I can't look up the metrics, or I could, but I don't want to have you sit here and wait for that. How it stands in all of A ball, but I heard a bunch of rumblings how he's going to very quickly be on people's top 100s in all of baseball report. So that has been very, very pleasant to see. And one other name that I would like to share is Taylor Dollard. I mean, he's been a Mariner for a while and struggled last year, but so far this year, he has a 0.9 ERA in 50 innings. So he went 6 innings of 0 earned run baseball yesterday in AA Arkansas. So Dollard, yeah, didn't look great last year, but he sure has something figured out this year. So and he's killing AA hitting. So those two are 1 hitter and 1 pitcher.
Kevin, any minor leaguers you want to highlight?
Yeah, I was gonna say Dollard, looking good. Yeah, pretty much.
I stole Kevin's. I'm sorry.
God damn it.
Yeah.
There's sexy. So we were mentioning it, how
Was this what started the fight? It might have been. Sorry, go ahead, Kevin.
No, I think that was after his home run, because it's 7-4.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It was after he hit the home run.
It's pretty much him trolling, saying eat mierda, which is Spanish for something. Yeah,
it's poop.
Yeah. What? Yeah, maybe caca. That's more poo. But yeah, no, pretty much as what he mentioned. Still high on Mako. He's been solid from what I've been seeing off the minor Twitters. Yeah. And then, I was about to say, yeah, we mentioned it was funny that people were kind of writing off Noel Marte, and then he has a big ass bomb like the day after. So, yeah. I think it's still too, as we were mentioning in our chat, I think it's too early. The kid's 19. He's going to be doing him now. He eventually needs to adult up and start taking things a little bit seriously. But let the kid play, do what he wants for the time being, like, and then slap him in the butt and be like, hey, get your crap together,
So I have been hearing that Kelnick is doing well in Tacoma. Can either of you confirm that for me?
Yes,
I've heard he's been performing pretty well. So I do want to pitch the question to you guys. When do they call him back up? Do they wait for a while? Do they call him back up for the All-Star break?
I'll say this. He is hitting pretty well. However, looking at numbers, I don't think him hitting this well is sustainable. I think he's just really lucky so far, unfortunately. I mean, his strikeout rate is almost 40%. His walk rate is 5%. His ISO power is 300. His BABIP is 440. That just screams every time he hits it, it's going real far, and he strikes out a ton, and he's not walking. So I just think he's not seeing it well, and every time he just happens to make contact, it's a double or a triple or a home run. But like that will regress and normalize, and then if that power's not there, he's just not recognizing the pitches still. I hope he can adjust, but right now I just feel like it screams a lot of luck right now. It's 17 games.
So would you? Is there any indication you want to bring him back up anytime soon?
No, he needs to see better pitches. He needs to walk more, strike out less. Like he just needs to do that, because an ISO of 300 is not sustainable. It's just not going to happen in the majors.
Kevin, what do you think?
There's an urgency and there's not an urgency. I think you kind of have to see first what's going on with Kyle Lewis, with the whole concussion, whatever the heck. And then I still think you have enough going for you right now to do what you need to do without bringing him back up. If Service feels like he needs more time, let him have it. In my opinion, there's not really a rush to bring him back up at this time, especially, I mean, we're going to be getting to mid-June here, and you're going to have Haniger probably in about a month and, around mid-July. So even if Kyle Lewis is out, you could probably still get by with what you have right now. Trammell's actually hitting okay now. It's been kind of weird.
Yeah.
So I mean,
he's the top 100 prospect like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, what if he figures something out? Let him play.
Honestly, I don't think you're in a need of hurt because Trammell's your flex outfielder right now, and he's doing fine. He's even though he's in the 7th or 8th hole, but he's
someone's got to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is the time to see what you have in Trammell, to possibly, maybe turn some heads in the trading game to where you can trade him for some key pieces that you need in the future. So, because even though he's a top prospect, is he part of what this franchise's future is going to be? Probably not. So if a team comes a calling for this young stud, if he keeps going at the rate he does, don't do what Sean proposed during the Kyle Lewis year. Don't sleep on him. Get him to a team and get what you can for him, type deal. So, especially since your outfield is so crowded. So, but no, I don't think you need to bring him up right now.
All right, and let's talk about this before everyone else does, because All-Star season is All-Star game is a month away. I haven't seen any vote for the All-Stars yet, so we're getting ahead of this before everyone else. So right at this moment in time, I want you to tell me how many All-Stars you see on this team, and I'm going to take a stab first. So I believe I see 4, and I think one of them will be controversial. I don't think the other 3 will be. I think Logan Gilbert will get a nod. I think Ty France will get a nod. I think Julio Rodriguez will get a nod. And I think JP Crawford will also get a nod. And I think that's my controversial one. So I think they have 4 at this moment. Now, granted, I am not as familiar with the rest of the league as the fantasy baseball players here with me are, so they probably know a little more than I do about that. But at this moment in time, I would predict 4. Now, I think that's kind of more on the that's a little bit more than I believe the average team usually has. So maybe I'm a little bit more optimistic. But Kevin, how many All-Stars do you see on this team right now, and who are they?
At max 2. And it would be Ty France and Gilbert. There's just so many other pitchers. That's the thing. I think Gilbert deserves to go? Yes. But is he going to go? Probably not, because he doesn't have household name power, sadly.
He never says he has. He's so mellow, calm. He's not going to get hype.
He's if you were to go over, let's say we go let's go to Atlanta. Be like, hey, who, go to a Braves fan up and at their field, like, hey, who's Logan Gilbert? Or not, they'd be like, MLB player. Maybe they might be able to guess Seattle, but they probably wouldn't be able to guess if he's a pitcher or a hitter or what position he plays, because he's still very new. So, I mean, shoot, I guarantee half of baseball fans probably don't know what team Mackenzie Gore plays for. It's sad. There's a lot of baseball fans, I'm gonna put that in quotes, out there that like to talk up the big stuff, and then when you ask them these questions, and they're like,
yeah.
So Ty France definitely deserves to go, even though we were mentioning it earlier. Apparently, MLB doesn't even know who the hell he is.
Yeah.
Putting
Luis
Torrens as his picture, like
no Ty France's name. Well, that's Luis Torrens. So.
Yeah. But if Ty France doesn't go, that's a slap in the face because that dude has been naughty. He does it. God, thank you, Padres, for giving us him. But yeah, Ty France definitely, and then I believe Logan Gilbert deserves to go, but will he go? Probably not. I think Ty France is our only one that gets there, and I don't think he will be starter. I think if you're going first base, American League, probably. God, who's?
It's Ty France. It's Ty France. He's number one.
Is he well? That's the thing, though. Even though he is number one, he's not. Like, I mean, people think Luis Torrens.
He'll go if he doesn't voted. Like, you're not going to leave Ty. The manager's not going to leave Ty France off.
Does it go to Rizzo? I mean,
how far is Rizzo down?
He's got New York behind him,
Rizzo has not been that good since his start. Rizzo's like 18th in first base ranking. He's right above Wilmer Flores.
Well, it doesn't go about defense though. It goes about what they do at the bat. It always has.
Everything, but that's not. But that's just, and it's just fan votes popularity. Like the manager will take who like the best player is, and the best player.
Rizzo will start probably. I'm not saying now. Should he? No, it should be Ty France. But people are dumb. That's what I'm saying.
I can see Vlad getting a like
because of his name and his bat, and that he's a Yankee. Rizzo will be the start at first base, but Ty France will be later on. He will be
I'm thinking Rizzo has a shot, but I think people will vote Vlad in. I think Vlad has the.
It could be Vlad too.
Vlad will get in.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Because
so Sean
probably
okay. I think the answer is 3. That will. That's not should. That's will. I think it'll be Ty, because Kevin's right. He won't be the opening day starter because he should be. He is the third best first baseman in baseball and the best American League first baseman by a pretty good margin. I'll say almost double. The next one is Owen Miller. Matthew, who does he play for?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Cleveland. Okay. I don't think I would have known that until. Oh, I would have known that earlier this year, but that's for a stupid reason. not a baseball related reason. But yeah, Ty France is clearly the best first baseman. I will say it. Who should go are. I might say 2 will go. Ty France, Julio Rodriguez. I'm not sure Logan Gilbert will get in. I don't know if the pitching coach and all those people will pick him. They should, but I think 2 will only go. Who should go are those 2 and Logan Gilbert. The only problem with JP Crawford is how many shortstops are you taking? How many shortstops?
It's a crowded position, so they probably take 3 max, I would imagine.
Well, then he's not on the team.
No, he's not going.
He's the fourth American League shortstop. That's unfortunate. It goes Bogarts, Pena, Anderson, and then JP. And he's got to hold off Corey Seager because they're basically tied right now. So in WAR. So
because I mean, if you look at outfield,
outfield, Julio is the 6th outfielder in the American League, and you need backup in every position. So he should be going. And at least, I say, he should, and he will, because he has hype. Everyone, he's Julio. Like
he's always on the MLB Twitter. He is hype.
He'll probably, I don't think he'll start.
No. Kevin, Kyle Tucker, Mike Trout, and Aaron Judge are
definitely going to start.
Julio, I'm not even arguing Julio deserves to start. Those 3 guys are absolutely murdering it. There's no way Julio deserves to start. But Julio is a player who should be playing on the All-Star game, because he's objectively a top 10 outfielder in baseball right now, just based on WAR. He is. I'm afraid of the other popular votes, because then you got Mookie, you got that's other league though. It doesn't affect.
Oh yeah, shit. He's Dodgers. Fuck.
I mean, ones below him aren't Stan's not going to get in. He's not even healthy right now.
he could still get in. I think, fan voting, you never know. You never know.
It's gonna be Trout, Judge, and an Astro. Like Stanton's not gonna win a vote against Mike Trout.
Oh, you're talking starter?
No, yeah, and then it doesn't matter after
Oh.
that. It doesn't, and then only 3 starters get in. Then it's the teams, and the teams aren't gonna pick an injured Mike Stanton or Giancarlo Stanton.
Oh, okay. I thought it was always voted, and then like the last player was okay.
It's just the starters, and then there's the last player gets voted in. I don't know why
you also have what's his face in Minnesota. We just said his name.
Buxton,
yeah.
Where is Buxton? He is collapsed. Where is he? I don't think he has enough. He doesn't have enough play appearances to qualify.
Oh well, yeah, because he's always hurt.
Yeah, he's always hurt. He does not qualify. He does not have enough play appearances. So yeah, unfortunately.
148. Yeah.
What is the qualifying to play enough games? It is. What does it look like here? It's 170 to qualify.
He's at 148 right now.
Yeah, he does not qualify. Well, he can make the All-Star team is what I'm saying, but like to qualify on the list of like leaderboards, he does not qualify.
Yeah.
So he could still be voted, but I just think the outfielders of those 3 are going to be locked in, and then at that point, while Byron Buxton might be like Stanton might be, a good player to name, a manager's not going to pick a guy who's maybe hurt and not playing as well as Julio. Like they're going to want to pick Julio. Like if I'm a manager trying to win a game, I want Julio on my team versus a hurt Stanton. Like this is what I want to do. So Ty France is definitely going to be in. Kevin's right. He's not going to be a starter because he's not going to win the fan vote, but he will definitely you're definitely going to pick. When you have the same WAR as Freddie Freeman, you're going to make the All-Star game. Like it's going to happen. And Logan Gilbert. I don't know if there's anybody else that could sneak in.
Maybe Seawald.
What
maybe.
is it? Castillo has been super good since his rough start. I think he's been 12 scoreless innings in a row now.
Yeah,
something like that. Like he's been amazing since. He's been fun to watch. But yeah, I think maybe one relief pitcher. But yeah, 2 get in, 3 should be in.
And can I just throw this out as an ideal scenario? Julio comes on strong this season, plays really well to start the next season, and he is headlining the home run derby at T-Mobile Park. Or who would you want someone else to headline the home run derby and be in the field for Seattle?
You want Julio. Unless Kelnick just goes ape shit on his return, maybe.
Right now, I see Suarez is leading the team in home runs, which I actually find kind of surprising.
No, you give it to Julio because he's your homegrown talent.
Suarez has been pretty good. Actually, now I think
Ty France is second with 8, and then Julio is third with 7. So interesting. Sean, ideal Julio is the home run derby player.
Can I say that maybe Suarez is going to be in the All-Star game? He's like the third best third baseman. Like he might make the All-Star game. He's had a pretty good year. Yeah, that's interesting to see. Third best third baseman, American League. And Eugenio Suarez. So much for a roster dump, huh? Cincinnati. Okay, but yeah, I don't know who that qualifies him to be in the All-Star game. So I would say maybe Suarez is the guy. I don't want Kevin.
Are we sleeping on Suarez right now? Is that what you're saying?
No, I said I want Suarez to be the guy. To be.
I know, but are people sleeping on Suarez?
Yeah,
is that what I'm saying?
Kevin, I would love to see Julio, but let's just. I don't want him to do anything that might hurt him. I just don't even. I don't even want him to look at the home run derby. Don't even watch it. I don't don't even look at it. Just don't hurt yourself, please. So yes, it'd be fun to see Julio, but she's you gotta treat him like the kid in Little Giants with the bubble wrap. Don't do it like Logan Gilbert, like you said in the beginning, Kevin. Logan Gilbert during the fight, you just stand in the back and don't look at anybody. Don't touch anybody. You are our ace. Just get nowhere near the fight or the pushing. I don't want you to fall and hurt your finger. Don't do it. So yeah, I would love Julio would be fun, but I don't want to see it just because I'd be looking between my fingers the whole time that he'd hurt himself or something like that.
It would be a fun show if Julio was in the home run derby.
Any Eugenio Suarez would be fun too. Vibes only, good vibes only, hitting dingers with his Cruella de Vil hairdo.
So Sean, when we went in 2001, I still have it right. here somewhere. Who was in the home? Was it Brett Boone that was in the home run derby that
You
year?
don't remember? You don't even remember who won?
No, it was Giambi who won. Or no. It was just remember Giambi was the lefty that hit it closest to us.
Come on. It's a name you forgot, but you're gonna remember real quick. He was on. We played the baseball game at
Luis Gonzalez.
Yes.
Okay.
He was on the video game we played.
Okay.
From Arizona.
Yeah.
Giambi, why everyone remembers Giambi is because he broke the record for most home runs in a round, and it was like, oh my gosh, and then he lost the next round to Luis Gonzalez.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Oh, I will say the coolest thing was watching Giambi hit all those home runs. Though that was like the best part.
And he was getting close to our area up there in the 300 level. So
he could. Ichiro also, I will say, Ichiro got the second closest to our area in warmups. Ichiro hit some real dingers up in the upper deck.
Oh, he still probably could right now.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, that was the see.
All right. Well, let us know what you have thought of the Mariners, who you would like to see participate in the home run derby next year at the All-Star game in Seattle, and who you think the Mariners All-Stars could potentially be this year. Go ahead and tweet us. I'm at _Matt. Sean is at Sean_Brady. Kev is at Kev Believes. Kev is at Kev's Believes with the first E being a 3. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like our videos or dislike them if you want. Maybe that helps get us views. I don't know. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. Before we talk a little bit about Seattle Seahawks, we got about 20 minutes left. I just want to recognize real quick, bring back the Sonics, Detlef Shrimp, Gary Payton. 30 years later, look at them. Beautiful now. They look not quite as young, but I'm sure they could still hoop. Gary Payton's son plays for the Golden State Warriors. Unfortunately, he was hurt in the series before Dallas, which was not Denver. Boy, I'm blanking. But either way, he plays for the Golden State Warriors, who are tied 1-1 right now with the Boston Celtics. So bring back the Sonics. Good to see Gary and Detlef looking good. And Detlef liked one of my tweets, so I've clearly made it, you guys. So I'm big time now. So I'm gonna have to probably quit the podcast at some point. But let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks, and not much Seahawks news, but there is something that we did not talk about last time that had a little bit of notoriety. The Seahawks signed wide receiver Marquise Goodwin. He was with the Bears last, appeared in 12 games in 2021, 20 catches, 313 yards, and a touchdown. But his best years are arguably behind him. He played with the Philadelphia Eagles, the San Francisco 49ers, and most recently the Bears. So I want to ask big deal, little deal, or no deal to you guys. I'm going to take this. I'm going to say little deal. I don't think he's on the brink of making the roster at this point. I think it's clearly 1-2 DK Tyler. Then you've got a slot spot open. Could he fill that? Yes.
Why do you have a slot spot open?
Huh?
Why do you have a slot spot open?
I don't think D has proved himself to be the slot wide receiver.
Why did you draft him in the top 100 then?
He just hasn't shown me anything to show me that he's the slot wide receiver. So I think there are a number of guys who could fill that spot, and he could be one of them. So that's why I say it is a little deal, because he could fill in at slot or he could not make this team. I could see either scenario happening. If I had to pick one right now, I would probably say him not making this team, but you never know. Sean, what do you think?
I think Kevin's the same way. I don't want to go on too long and steal his thunder, but I'm not super against him coming in, but again, that just means that you're not playing Dwayne Eskridge, who you invested in, and this was kind of the whole Ursua problem. If you like a guy enough and you drafted him, and it's not even a Ursua thing, it's you draft him in the top 100. You spend a valuable pick on this guy, and he, air quotes, was hurt all year, if that's the excuse we're giving. So why are you now then benching him? Either they don't believe in him now, or I don't know. Like, it's just like you're just muddying the water with a player you know has limited upside in Marquise Goodwin to take snaps away from a guy you're hoping to get playing time from. It's Jerron Brown, it's Philip Dorsett all over again. Stop it, Pete. Like these third receivers, they don't even matter that much. Like you're going to run a lot of 2 tight end sets anyways, because you paid your second tight end a ton of money. So the third guy's not going to be there. So why invest double in this position that's going to get what 7 to 11 snaps a game? Like if we're being generous here. So I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it's again, they had such a good draft process wise, but this move it screams like, and if if Eskridge is not the guy, then that's what it is, but you can't keep whiffing on top 100 picks. You just can't keep doing it.
Kevin, what do you think?
He won't make the team. Period. Like you're only going to bring in like 5 to 6 receivers on the team and then like 1 practice squad. So you already have Lockett and DK. You're probably going to keep Swain. Who else? Probably going to keep
you forgot Eskridge. That's
4. Eskridge, that's 4. You're gonna probably keep one of the kids you drafted this year in the 7th round, most likely. One of the 2 is going to make the team. That's 5. Then you have he likes Penny Hart a lot because of special teams. So most likely you're going to keep Penny Hart unless Marquise Goodwin outdoes him in special teams in some weird manner. And that's if Penny, that's 5 receivers there. Maybe we bring in 6, but most likely you're going to be in the 5-6 range. You're not going to go past that. So yeah, there's just no reason. It's just a stupid move. I don't get it. It makes no.
You're assuming he's going to keep Penny Hart. I think he's going to get rid of a young kid for this guy, which I'd rather keep the young guy. Because I know who Marquise is already.
Yep. But I mean, as we have mentioned 876 times on this podcast, Pete Carroll knows how to evaluate talent on a roster really well. So
just play
so 877 now.
Yes.
Just play Eskridge.
All right.
And Ursua. But Ursua is going to get cut too, which is stupid.
Yeah, he's going to get cut.
Well, let's move on to a topic related to the Seahawks. Just a short flight south in the division. Aaron Donald has signed a reworked contract. He gets a big raise. He is now the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. The deal gives him a $40 million raise over the last 3 years of his existing contract. So he is slated to make $95 million over the next 3 years. So what does this mean for the Seahawks? It's not good. It's not good. Aaron Donald.
It's fantastic.
Aaron Donald is a good player, and he does a really good job of taking up 2 offensive linemen. So that's something the Seahawks offensive line is going to have to deal with for at least the next 3 years, pending injury or something like that. So not ideal, but I will, give credit to Aaron Donald. He absolutely deserved this contract. I know he talked about retirement. I did not believe that for a second. I know he is 31, I believe. Let me see. He's 31. And he's at the top of his game. I think that that talk about retirement was just the ecstasy of winning and just wanting to go out on top. But I didn't think that was going to happen for a second. So kudos to Aaron Donald. Be gentle, and we'll see you in September, October? I don't know when we play at first, but that won't be fun. Kevin, what do you think of the deal?
It doesn't really matter, to be honest. I mean, on the field, yeah, it sucks, especially since you don't have Russell to run away from him. You're going to have either Geno or Drew Lock getting just murdered behind the line. But, I mean, it can be a good thing, too, just because, one, he's eating up so much money for them that eventually that super team's going to crumble, and they'll probably be worse off about the time period that we can rebound, pending that we get rid of Pete's old ignorant butt, like the team gets sold, which is a possibility that we can talk about here in a little bit too. Uh, but I mean, to me, I know I seem like negative Nancy over here, but I mean, we're not going to win anything anywho. So like, does it really affect us? I mean, Gino and Drew Lock are just going to get sacked more whoop-de-doo. I mean, we're not going to win against them anywho. So we're going to lose both games anywho. So sure, he gets an extra sack or two. But like I said, if this team does a turnaround where we're, competing around 2024-ish, like we find a quarterback that's, good enough to help get us to the playoffs, and Pete's, drinking margaritas in Stupidville and no longer on this team, then yeah, then it's a good deal for us, because the Rams will be. It's kind of what happened with the Jared Goff, Todd Gurley situation, to where there was so much money capped into one hole that you had trouble getting pieces elsewhere. So we'll see.
Sean, what does this mean?
I was told if you spend a lot of money on players, it's bad because they eat too much of your cap. Now, that's what I was told by fans who wanted to move on from Russell, because you pay good players, that's a bad idea. So it can only be bad, correct? I mean, they're going to pay Matthew Stafford a bunch of money, $50 million a year, and they're going to pay Aaron Donald $30 million. They're going to win like 4 games. That's by that logic.
Mm-hmm.
So no, it is a bad thing, because you pay good players the money that they deserve and that they've earned. And the job then at that point is to then not screw up the draft and have a good process. And that's how you continue to build around these players. Yeah, it's not good. I'll just say it, he's the best interior defensive lineman of all time already. He's 31 years old. Like, having him in your division for 3 more years sucks. Absolutely sucks. He's 31 and he was still, I don't know, just as good as ever last year. So it sucks. Super sucks. And I don't like the interior of our line yet. Maybe we'll fix it in a couple years, but he's still going to eat. And like Kevin said, we have Drew Lock and not Russell Wilson running away from him. So it's going to get good luck, kid. Good luck.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got about 10 minutes left, and let's talk about what Kevin just mentioned in the possibility of Jody Allen and the Paul Allen Trust selling the Portland Trailblazers. Now, 4 days ago, Nike founder Phil Knight and Los Angeles Dodgers co-owner Alan Smolinski, I think I said that right, have made an offer north of $2 billion to purchase the Portland Trailblazers, according to Adrian Wojnarowski. But however, despite Knight and Smolinski's interest in the NBA team, the Blazers' current ownership group says the team isn't for sale. And I have this update, I believe it's of Saturday. So it appears that there was an offer made, but at this time, it doesn't look like anything will go through. Now, this is relevant to this podcast because Paul Allen's Trust owns the Seahawks, and we've heard a lot of comments about Jody Allen over the last 6 months, I guess. So what does this mean for the Seahawks? Well, at this point in time, it doesn't really seem to mean anything, because they made an offer and it appears that they are not going to sell. So at this point, I would imagine it's probably the same thing for the Seahawks, but I leave with the caveat of but. I don't think that the door is necessarily closed. You say the team is not for sale, but I'm sure there is a price where this team would be for sale. Now, I don't know how much Portland's valued at. They had a really bad season. They do have Damian Lillard, but outside of that, they don't have a whole lot. So I don't know how much this team is worth. Is it worth $2 billion? I mean, it's the only team in Portland, professional team. So could be. It could be worth $3 billion. Could be worth $4 billion. I mean, 3 years ago, they were in the Western Conference Finals, and then they just kind of traded a lot of assets this year. So I don't know how much this team is worth. How much is the Seahawks worth? Really don't know. They are coming off one of their worst season in the last 10 years, and they just traded their franchise quarterback. So who knows how much an investor would be willing to pay for this team, and who would want to buy it. We've thrown some names out. I think there's some billionaires in Washington, as we all know, but based on this news about the Blazers, I don't see the Seahawks being sold anytime soon. However, I have heard some things, I have not confirmed them, that this was part of Paul Allen's trust, was to sell the team and sell the assets that he has eventually. So if not now, I could see it in the next few years, but I'm not in sales. Sean could probably speak to that more. It's probably a thing of, you want to make sure you get your value for it, but also you want to make sure it goes to someone who's going to, first of all, keep the team where it is, probably. So I think it's got to be a multitude of factors. Phil Knight seems like a worthy investor in the Portland Trailblazers, but I don't know why they would turn it down. Maybe they just think they're getting a low offer. Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, honestly, I'd rather see the team sold sooner rather than later. Just because Jody Allen, as we've seen, just doesn't know what the hell she's doing. The whole, and I know probably we'll get argued against, the whole afraid of the team leaving just because of what happened in the past is asinine in my opinion, just because one, back then the markets were more open, but now, like, where do you go? Like, are you going to move the team to LA and give them 3 teams? No.
Back to the St. Louis.
St. Louis, yeah. St. Louis is literally kind of the only option that's open. And we saw how that worked. Like, you have a bigger market in Seattle, probably.
Can you imagine your biggest rival moving to your town after like you two hate each other, and then you're the rival.
Back when Paul Allen bought it, there was only one team in LA. And you had nothing in Las Vegas. Now that's been capped. You're not going to take it to LA. You're not going to take it to Vegas. You ain't going to take it anywhere else. Like, I doubt you're going to go back to San Diego. Plus, do you really need another team in California? No. It just makes no sense to move it out of Seattle. You're not going to take it to Portland. So all the fans.
Well, Kevin, let me just play devil's advocate for just a second. I mean, Seattle Sonics moved to Oklahoma City. So, I mean,
but that's
also a better market. Is it better?
Oklahoma fans have their Sooners, and that's about it. You know, I mean, sure, Oklahoma City could maybe, but like, then you have to build a whole new stadium. You have a nice stadium where you're at right now. Like, Seattle has, like, you've seen the market, like, when success happens, they've sold out pretty much every game. I mean, the fans are diehard. There's no logical point to move it for money wise. There's no business profits that I see. Now, am I a business major? Fuck no. But from what I've seen, from the numbers that I've seen online, there's just nothing that shows, you know, you're not going to a bigger, better market. I mean, yes, the Sonics happened back then, but that was also, you know, back 20 years ago plus. So it's a different time now, to where it'd be, in my opinion, it'd be a super risk to take it to a place like St. Louis or Oklahoma City. When, you know, Seattle's just a bigger market. You have the Northwest, and pretty much everybody flocks up to us, other than the random weirdos that like run around in 49ers and Green Bay Packers outfits around here that pretend like they've been home fans for forever. So that's adorable. But and then Cowboys / Raiders, and we won't get into that. But yeah, in my opinion, there's no logical. So that's why I'm like, get the team out of it, because you want a management restructurement, and that's the only way it's going to get out of Pete's hands, other than him having a stroke on the field, or him just saying I'm fed up with it. But he's so power hungry. I don't know. And unless this team's like goes has 2 wins, Pete Carroll is going to be there probably almost the end of his contract. So, because Jody Allen's just an idiot. So, the sooner, in my opinion, the sooner the better. People could argue against it. Cool.
All right. Well, before I throw it to Sean, I've just been Googling cities need an NFL team, and there's a random block, so don't take this as anything. But cities that need an NFL team: London, Frankfurt, Barcelona, Berlin, Toronto, Montreal, Edmonton. And then I Googled the 50 largest cities without a pro team. Austin, Texas, El Paso, Texas,
Yep.
Louisville, Kentucky,
3 Texas teams. Come on.
Albuquerque, New Mexico, Tucson, Arizona, Fresno, California, Mesa, Arizona, Long Beach, California, Colorado Springs, Colorado, and at 10 is Virginia Beach, Virginia. So, Sean, what do you think?
Well, none of those are viable cities. Like none of those are viable. Gosh, what was even the beginning question? We talked about moving the team, and I got so distracted. Okay. So Allen moving the team. So
Selling the team.
Selling the team. Sorry. That's what I meant to say. From what I've read, and some people who have inside sources, what they are saying is that it must be moved. The general consensus is like there's rumors that they're talking about moving, but there's no like official they have to. Whenever you hear some people say like, look, we can see the documents, it has to move, the trust is moving, we know that you're liquidating everything else, like you've already sold your airplanes, you sold the yacht, you sold everything else. We know what we are seeing is that you have to sell it, and you claim not, but you're selling everything else. We know it's probably a matter of time. We know it's probably the case where you have to sell both franchises. It's probably in the trust that they have, X time to sell it. It is, as someone who does do finance and business, I don't know anything specific about this, but what she would be doing is smart in waiting for the Broncos to be sold, which looks like they are sold for $4.5 billion, to kind of get a gauge on pro sports teams and see what the values are for teams. Yes, NBA and NFL is different, but at least like it's the most recent example you have of kind of where the markets are, and you can market adjust based on it, and you can just adjust them for NBA and see kind of what a team should go for. And I think it's just a matter of time. Like within a year, the Blazers are sold. And again, we don't have a time frame on this trust, and if they're like what the time frame is to move it. And again, if there even is a time frame to move it, but I assume that there is. I assume it's a couple of years. I assume the Seahawks will be sold. And like Kevin, I'm not super worried about them moving. The NFL, especially with today versus like back in the day with like 2 games on, or there's whatever this is, like there's just so many ways to watch so many of these teams, and the Seattle is the only team for a long ways. Like you'd be just alienating 3 states basically of sports fans by just moving one team out. And a team that like has been like when the Sonics moved, or when the Browns moved, it wasn't like it is today, where there's so many, like so much has just changed in the last 10 years of just like how to watch games, how like Red Zone, like all these other ways to watch, like streaming services. Like there's no like corner of the globe anymore. You don't really know. You can't say like, oh, I can't watch the Seahawks right now. You could easily watch a team that you're not in the market of, or, oh, I can't watch the Chargers. You could easily find a way to watch any of these teams' games. So it's just moving teams now, especially a team that's so far away from all the other teams, just as from a business. Yes, the NFL will be fine if they move the Seahawks, but why move a team out of there? Like moving St. Louis when, like with the team that was struggling, wasn't drawing fans, like you just move them out of there, go to LA. I don't agree to move to LA, but if any state can afford another team, it's California, because they have a billion people in it. But like you're not moving in, like you said, like a third team in Texas or a third team in California when you're not even sure that the teams in California are going to work. Like who knows what the Chargers are going to look like when they actually get a freaking stadium that, like they finally moved in their stadium, but they're still not drawing what the Rams are drawing. So you basically have 1.5 teams in California. I'm not worried about them moving. I assume they will be sold. I don't even want to start speculating on who they're sold to, because I don't think they're going to be sold for a number of years. I think when they're sold, Pete moves on. Maybe after 2 more NFL seasons, then they might be starting to be sold. I don't think anything before then. Definitely the Blazers go first too. So that'll be like your first like shot fired. You'll know when the Blazers go.
Blazers will be like a warning shot, and the Seahawks will be next.
Yeah. And then Damian Lillard, calling it now. Ultimate call job. Damian Lillard doesn't change teams. He changes leagues and goes to join the Seahawks. Boom, calling it. Switches leagues. Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah, boom. That's the ultimate called it. Ultimate called it. You saw it here first. And he's a rapper, raps the national anthem.
Wow. I'm all for this,
Yeah,
actually.
boom.
This
He's
is the scenario I
playing
want now.
Safety. That's what he's playing.
Well, okay, I didn't see that coming.
Bye,
No,
Jamal.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let us know what you think of the rumblings of the Blazers possibly getting sold and what that means for the Seahawks going twist. I'm a _Matt. Sean's at Sean's Betty. Kev's at Kev's the first thing believes being a 3. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think of the topics we talk about. Tell us what you think about Jody Allen possibly selling the Seahawks. Like our videos or dislike them. Doesn't even matter. Just like get on the page and look at it for a little bit. That's all we really need. And next week we will see how the Mariners are doing. Maybe some Seahawks news pops up. The Sounders will not be back quite yet, but we'll talk about them a little bit before they get going in their season again, because the players will be back from World Cup stuff. So with that, we will see you next time on Washington East to West Sports. Bring back the Sonics.